Yuan Ming. The song today, before the webcast, was from Naomi Scott from the movie Disney's Aladdin, Speechless. I received a question yesterday or 2 days ago, and the song fits very good to the topic today. The person who sent me the email was very open with me and very trusting. And this person has shared very personal information and has asked me to not read out the question. So, of course, we are going to follow this request. So, I have formulated the question myself in a little bit more expanded way so it can serve many more. At least this is my intent, and I will do my best. I trust that if you wouldn't hear me, you would let me know. But I've already received the hello from someone, also the okay from someone. Also, today is full moon. Today is full moon, and we have the full moon practice and topic of calm. Calm. The other topic will be today partially avoiding and hiding. So humor is an important replacement information for avoiding and hiding. Now, the topic in my email sent out this time was a beautiful phrase I heard somewhere, that simplicity harmony between the elements and purity are the features of a Zen garden. And I thought that fitted really wonderful to how we are constructing our heart. From the complex to the simple life, meaning a life riddled with problems, constantly maybe even, to a life that is calm, relaxed and natural, that is unified and in harmony. The harmony between the elements fits also very good today to the question. So again, I have to thank the universe and the chi field and the questioner without knowing, but it fits quite wonderfully all together. I'm just always in awe how everything moves into place in the web class. And purity. Purity is what we attempt to do with our heart, to purify it. Purifying it from the lack of trust, openness, love, gratitude, and Gongqing. Also freeing it up from that, and through establishing more of the 5 Xin qualities, getting to a more and more pure heart, state of heart consciousness, Xin Ling. Since today's full moon topic is calm, we're going to take a few moments to unify all together with ourselves, with everybody participating now and in the recordings, whoever is going to watch the recordings at a later time. But again, for you who are watching the recordings, it's here and now as well, isn't it? So there's not much difference in the strength of the chi field. Certainly not in the strength of the information. So gently look straight forward. Keep looking at this one point. And just hold that spot for a moment, calmly holding the spot. And draw back the vision, closing the eyes, look into the center of your head. And relax the head, relax the shoulders and arms, relax the torso, lift Hoi Yin to lower Dantian. Relax down the legs. And then start up again on the top of your head. And now we do the same relaxation, connecting with calm. Allow your head to go into the quality of calm. Your shoulders, arms, hands, and fingers are calm. Your breath and chest are calm. Your abdomen and lower back are calmly relaxed. legs and feet are calm. Very simple. There is a lot of simplicity in establishing a calm, relaxed state. All one has to do is to send the information in and be open and willing to allowing it to happen. Now observe your breath. Everything is calm. Now expand this calmness out. Stretch it out. Radiate it out. Give a gift to the world around you and to the universe. Give your calm to everyone in the world. Feel your heart opening with the giving. As you give your love and calm to everything and everyone existing in the universe, feel how your heart establishes harmony between all elements in the universe. And feel how this purifies your heart. The joy of giving calm and love to the world. You are the light of the wisdom of the universe. And now that you have given everything and everyone your calm, the universe gives you back calm. Welcome it in. Think inside of yourself as a Chi person. With gratitude, receive the beautiful light and strength of calm. Observe yourself. What do you perceive now? Have you perceived any change? If you like, you can open your eyes. If you prefer to keep them closed, we have gone in a deep state. You can keep them closed. It's up to you. Have you seen how simple it is? How simple it is to establish harmony between you and all other elements. Have you seen how through this simplicity you have access to your heart and to all the purity of your heart? Have you experienced how simple it is to experience the calm and purity of the universe? We have only spent a few minutes on changing our state. Have you experienced the joy and the strength that comes from conscious giving calm? Not giving anything, simply giving your quality of your state to everyone, lending them your strength, and how the universe is giving you back so much. We will be needing this today as well when we look at the question. So, as I have said, the sharing of that person was very, very private and personal, and I thank you for it. And I have reformulated the question. So I have expanded a little bit on it, but then we can look at those perspectives from a totality point of view. And it also builds up on two other Yuan Ming free flow classes already. First on last week's class, when we looked into how we can help ourselves having respect for someone who is a murderer or an abuser. And on the class a few weeks back on victimhood, from the perspective of self-centeredness. And this person has asked me to share a bit more about that from a specific angle. So let's see. I hope I did good by gathering the essence of the request. How to interact, be, or even live with someone who got abused, aka is now a victim. What if that someone has turned into a perpetrator, an abuser, someone who withdraws or is judgmental, not happy? Also, what if they are not willing, aka not ready or not able yet for facing direct therapeutic help or to do some other type of life cultivation work. How to interact, to be, or even live with someone who got abused, aka who is now a victim because of the abuse. What if that someone has turned into a perpetrator, abuser, withdrawer, etc.? Also, what if they are not willing, aka not ready yet or not able yet for facing direct therapeutic help or to do some other type of life cultivation work? So, this is a very important aspect that we didn't have time yet to cover in the last 2 classes about that. But that's how it is in life cultivation. That's how it works within the chi field. We work on something and then we give the consciousness some time to process it and to see what the consciousness is doing with it, with this information. So, what are the changes that come from there? And how did the thinking change within us? Now we can build up on more. First and foremost, I have intensified the question a little bit because there is many people out there who actually this question concerns many people in many different variations of the level of, let's call the person for now an abuser or an abused. Of course, actually in Renshe, we don't really understand abuse the way we would call them an abuser or a perpetrator. But for the sake of the discussion here, I have to call them something. We do know, we have looked at that last sessions about how victimhood can create the necessity for being abused and how abuse creates victim and that in turn creates again maybe an abuser. So actually, at least in my understanding, there are only victims. But then again, victim is also something that we're not in a Renshe understanding. We are just a human being who goes through experiences to use all of it so we can grow. There is a little difference in here. There is an interesting little aspect in that. I would say that I'm always, I find that just kind of important. We don't have to go through everything, so we do learn. But the experiences we do go through can be taken as something we can learn something from. Yeah. So not that it's important to not understand that we have to go through things in order to learn. We don't deserve to suffer, we humans. Do you see what I mean? I hope I managed to express that. There's a slight nuance in that. Yeah. things happen and we can use them to grow and learn. But we don't go through them because we have to suffer like that, because we have deserved to suffer, or we should be. The universe doesn't punish. That's great, because then we don't need to punish either. So the pattern of resentment and revenge is taken care of now. Simple as that. We don't have to punish ourselves and we don't have to punish others. All we have to do is love. This is what today is going to be about. How do we live with someone like that? Or how are we with someone if they behave in what we perceive something as attack, abuse, hurtful, etc., unsafe? So first of all, because we're dealing with humanity, so you are all in different situations. Depending on the severity, but always for everybody, there's one really important guideline. Safety first. Safety always first. If you are in danger, physical or mentally, not to be able to deal with it, then reach out. Get to safety. If you need people, reach out. If you need people to help you with that, reach out to someone you can trust, to someone professional, someone who knows. There is many institutions these days in many countries. If you happen to live in a country where there is no institutions in place yet, or where there simply is the whole country or the whole thought of the cultural country is like that, that's when it becomes a bit more complex. But do know that you have the right as a human being to help yourself and to get to somewhere where you are in safety. No matter how young or old you are, so no matter what age you are, you do not need to experience hurt or suffer. If you can somehow make it out of there, out of the physical situation, please do. So what do we do if this is not possible? So can you see how, for me, as I am talking about this topic and as we are putting this information out in the Chi field, we have to discern a little bit there. Because what if someone lives in a country where it's just very common to, for example, that women have no voice, where children have no voice? How is it in a culture where it is very normal that children get physically hurt? That child probably does not know that this isn't supposed to be this way. It's a very good possibility As it's a possibility that the child doesn't know because it's everywhere around that way. So this is what the child experiences, and nobody says otherwise. And when a lot of things happen that seem to create hurt and fear, then it's also very difficult to reach a state in which we have access to the knowledge of the universe, to the information of the universe, so we could know this doesn't need to be this way. Life can be more peaceful. I am talking about this to all of you who are watching this. I would say you have the time and means to watch a Renshi teacher. I'm sure you're watching Yangtze and other teachers. So today it's me. But you have the time and means to watch me talk here right now. So that means that you probably live in a country where there is, for now at least, institutions in place. But I'm talking about this so we, you and me, together, all of us together, are strengthening this information in the chi field right now. We're sending this information to everybody's heart, to everybody's consciousness, so that they find encouragement, so they can pick up on the strong information that, of course, everybody is allowed to put safety first and to get to safety. Feel your heart. Make a wish, if you like, for all of humanity, all the humans who maybe are not in such a beautiful situation as yourself and safe. Send them and lend them your strength. Lend them your encouragement, your power, your loving heart, the purity of your heart. Please don't underestimate the chi field. The chi field is connected to every single human being and can have effects in wondrous ways on humans who don't know anything about life cultivation or who don't know anything about their right to be safe. Did you know that you had that power inside of you? Did you know that through going into an internal, strong, harmonious, unified state, you have the power to send information that will strengthen collective Shen, collective human consciousness? By the way, this is very strong replacement information for when your self-centeredness pattern or victimhood pattern shows up next time. This is something that helps me often a lot to keep when it's very active at times. That's what always breaks through. The people who have it way worse than me. And then I always can laugh about what seems to be a stupid little pattern, that a moment before it seems to have been the worst thing in the world, because that's what the false self is doing, isn't it? It makes us believe that story so strongly that we think we are suffering so badly. And I don't want to diminish, no, I do want to diminish your suffering. That's the whole purpose of me being here in front of the camera. And um, I don't want to belittle your suffering. We will talk about this today as well. To work on one's victimhood and to get to safety and to work on self-centeredness and to have empathy for murderers or abusers or perpetrators does not mean you are not allowed to take care of your hurts, does not mean that you are not allowed to hurt. You are hurting, so acknowledge that for now. We don't need to suppress that or downplay it because it isn't wise or it isn't, because we're not supposed to feel hurt because we see the totality and all the cause and effect. And maybe I've been a perpetrator before in some other life. To see life this way does not mean that you're not allowed to feel what you're feeling, that you are not supposed to feel what you are feeling. What we do with that is we accept first with openness that we are feeling this way. There is nothing shameful about being a victim or an abuser for that matter. You are hurting, so let's find out why and how, with love and compassion for self and for the others in the situation. But please hear me. Often it might seem like that because we use all these big concepts, well, the big concepts, I mean, perspectives of totality. It doesn't mean that we diminish or demean or belittle our own problems. What I mean is that sometimes thinking of others can help us break through the victimhood for a moment and recognize it's a pattern, and then we can work on it again, and that's how we can dissolve and clear the pain, so that pain turns either into beauty or into, oh, I understand now why I am in pain, and then we can adjust our way, our relationship to the pain, so that then it's only what it is, pain and hurt, but not with all the stories with behind that anymore, so we don't have to keep recreating it. Does that make sense to you? And please take that in your heart. If you're hurting, you don't need to not be hurting. Yes? Human consciousness and hence human behavior, we humans aren't so very high developed yet as a majority. We do still have war, and we do still have a big need for human rights. And that means that because we still have a big need for human rights, there is a lack of respect. And there is many unhealthy patterns raging, the fighting and the polarized thinking and the judging and the overgeneralizations and the negativity, etc., etc., etc. Yeah. So we are here to not avoid the hurt or to deny ourselves the hurt and pain. We just want to find a safe way how to deal with all of the hurt, so it can change into something else, so it can transform into something else. So don't, let's come back to the power of the chi field, because this is interesting no matter on what level. This is actually all three questions. Remember the three parts of the question: how to deal with or live with someone who was abused a lot, so now feels either like a victim or hurt a lot, and or is withdrawn a lot and needs to avoid and hide a lot, or where there is self-esteem lacking, or where interaction is lacking, or the ability to communicate on a heart level is lacking because of that, or even who has turned into someone who now is let's say grumpy, aggressive, maybe even dangerously aggressive. And so what can we do when this person isn't able yet or willing, which actually has to do with isn't able yet to face something? Yeah, so this is the avoiding and hiding pattern at inaction, trying to not have them feel their pain. So we avoid it, like horses, have these, so they don't shy away. I don't know what you call them. Oh, blinders. Yeah? Some of you sent me the word, I think. The blinders. So that's what the pattern of avoiding and hiding is doing. Yeah. When there is a lot of hurt from abuse, especially from childhood, but it can also happen later on, maybe from the opposite sex, maybe from the same sex if one is into the same sex, but the person we desire to be with on a romantic or living together level. It can happen from, like, in the work environment. Abuse is very, very often happening there too. So there's many possibilities in where that can happen. This is where you can use the chi field. Let me tell you a story about that. Maybe that points out actually what I mean with use the chi field. Well, first of all, we actually practiced that in the beginning a little bit. Yes, so I've started the class with that, so that if you want to practice that, you can just always re-listen to the first 15 minutes of the class, or 10 only, and you can practice that this way. So after level 5 teachers training of Renshu, well, the second level 5 actually for me, I flew from New Zealand to Hawaii. I sort of was in the avoiding and hiding of teaching myself since my motorcycle accident the year before. And I somehow managed to, because I can work with my individual sessions that I'm living off, I managed to fulfill myself a dream. Hawaii is very expensive, but I found a way through an app that's called Couch Surfing. And Couch Surfing is an app of international travelers and people who are interested in meeting travelers to communicate on an app and to house each other or prepare what's it called, a couch to sleep on. Now I had this idea, if I buy myself a tent and a blow-up mattress, an air mattress, if someone would allow me to be for 2 weeks or a month or a week in, and put my tent up in in their gardens or at their house somewhere. So I could afford Hawaii. And so I just thought I'd try it. And so I did that. And it happened. And this is also because today we're working on avoiding and hiding. If you haven't read that pattern yet, maybe this week you want to do that. I have to tell you, I read it so often already, and each time it's so deep. It's such an interesting pattern on the fundamental level of human social life, especially, but of course of our inner life. So in the conclusion about avoiding and hiding, I think it's in the conclusion. There is this, can you remember when you were a child or at any time in your life when you weren't scared and you just went ahead and did something? Yeah. So short before level 5, I felt like this and I thought, okay, let's see. I'll try it. I just really need to fulfill this lifelong dream of mine, which was never possible because of financial reasons. So I tried that, and I've been giving the gift of the universe. And so I was invited to stay for a month or 2 if I liked. And so I went to Kauai, which is one of the islands, to that person that invited me. And it was directly at the ocean. The ocean was like 100 meters away, just one park field away. And there were even public toilets, which was great for me. And so I put my tent up there. And then when I arrived, I thought, wow, there's a party going on here. Little did I know that party was going on every night. And that party actually came from very unhealthy patterns. So there was a lot of, a lot of alcohol and also hard drugs involved. And I thought, that is interesting. Well, I thought I'll look 1 or 2 days how this is, and if it feels safe, I stay. So I put my tent outside. The person was very nice to me, incredibly helpful, and he helped me put this tent up and everything. And then everybody from the house, which were like, I don't know, 50 people, said hello, and so we were interacting, and I thought this was very interesting because I just came out of level 5, where we learned the fundamental patterns, and we learned Ling Yuan, and we did very deep states, and I was like, whoa, it was really interesting. And so everybody was very nice to me, and I was surprised by that. Like, they all tried to be on their best behavior, and I have to tell you, there was, it wasn't just a bit of cannabis, some young people smoking pot and drinking a beer. So while I was trying to figure out what to do, I thought, okay, I'll start building a G field. So I built the G field and put it around the whole house, not just around my tent. And so I just stayed outside mostly, and I only went inside for a warm shower, and I was swimming in the ocean every day, so I only needed a shower every second or third day. And sometimes I went in to cook some food, but I took it out to the tent to eat there again. And actually, in the first week, 2 people came with me to the beach. They wanted to show me a beach, and they only drank 2 or 3 beers while that. And later on, they got drunk again. But I never felt in danger ever. And so I stayed for a whole month. And actually, people also were picked up by the police there and were brought to jail. And so I heard that was going on for quite a while. And then 2 weeks in, I thought, this is weird. The parties had stopped and people had stopped coming around. Inside, they cleaned the house, and I mean, quite a few of them had stopped doing drugs altogether. I'm not joking. This was really, really interesting to see. So just every day when I was practicing, and at that time I was reading the patterns a lot. Of course, we had just gotten the patterns, so I was studying them often the whole day. And we were reading them while I was walking. And my friend Elaine and Sabine, we were reading them together and discussing them. And oh wow, yeah, and so on. And so of course, and I was practicing. And I mean, I've been in a very good state because I had a very special experience in level 1, in level 5. So I just kept unifying all of that chi field, all of that house, and big changes have happened. And people have found jobs and started to work. And there was such a fast change with just the Renju Chi field showing up there. I was really, really, I mean, I was just, what was I? I was not surprised, actually. I was just really intrigued. I thought, wow, this is powerful, actually. I've had a similar experience actually in New Zealand once, but that was a bit more long-standing. So it doesn't matter. Oh, by the way, so after 1 month, there was one of the persons that was one of the most radical persons there, who was uninvited to come by the house. But there was a not yet complete finished love interest going on with someone, and so that person came by the house, and then he was obviously hard on drugs or coming down, I don't know, but it was in the middle of the night, and that person smashed a car with a baseball bat, and the car was parked right beside my tent. And then I thought, okay, this is time for me to leave. But till this day, I still keep the whole house and the people who lived there at that time in my chi field and in my heart. I mean, not every day, but every month, every 2 months, I think of them and just refresh the chi field and keep sending love to further growth. But you know, at least 6 people have completely cleaned up to a degree where they didn't do drugs during the day, and actually not even in the evening anymore. By the end, it was really, and you know, they started choosing different connections, different relations, who they wanted to have in their house and who not. So very powerful, the Renju Chi field, I would say. Yeah, you are part of the Renju Chi field. So safety first, yeah, please regard that. But if you're living with someone who doesn't want to do active work, use the chi field. When you live with that person, maybe I should go a little bit more. Hold on, I come back to that. How do we do that? How do you use the chi field? Well, basically, like what we have done before. So you first relax and get yourself into a calm state. Then you expand the state out and first unify with the universe to pick up all the power of the universe. And then with the universe and you together as one, you set the intention to wish them the best possible outcome, to wish them health and happiness, and maybe the wish for being free, depending on what situation they are in. Yes. I never By the way, I only spoke with one person in that house. And that was at that time a homeless person who was allowed to sleep on their couch inside. Very, so such a lovely and so helpful man. And he asked me what I was doing on the jetty, on the pier every day there, the slow movements and everything. So with him, I did talk about Renshu a little bit. And when he asked me, for help a little bit, I sure helped him. But I didn't talk to any of the others about what I'm doing. There was just there was no opportunity to speak about Renshu or, the patterns of the consciousness. And so this was really solely the Chi field and my willingness to include them, and also my willingness, and here we come now. This is very important. The willingness to look at my own fears and to not close up my heart and not start distrusting them. I have never had to do anything much. I mean, okay, so I used to be a surfer and snowboarder, so yes, there were people around, but in my direct relationships, when I was 18, I met someone who had done cocaine once. Other than that, I had never had anything to do with hard drugs. I just, here in my village, for example, I don't know, they would probably hide that, but this is not a common thing over here. Where I lived, and in traveling, I was always more with sports people, and they drink a beer and maybe smoke a joint, but I honestly I haven't had any experience with any kind of any of that. And real alcoholism, me personally, I've never been in that situation to having to deal with that either. So there was a lot of fears and a lot of, so the avoiding and hiding pattern, I was just really looking into, is it safe to stay? Do I need to leave? How do I trust? How do I use trust in this situation? And so it was very helpful for me and very powerful experience, of course, afterwards. But beforehand, I really had to, use a lot of, okay, relax, stay calm, and trust the chi field and the universe. You're here for a reason. And of course, if you can't actively teach or give sessions to someone, how would that happen? But I had made a very similar experience in New Zealand with neighbors that we didn't have anything to do with. But of course, we heard their parties and the police driving by, etc., every third night, and the fights and the things that were going on. So that's when actually my then husband and me, we started to spread the chi field around their house too. And there was a fantastic change too. I mean, the child that was pretty much completely neglected was sent to school. The person living there, um, the female was finally receiving the help in a mental health clinic that she needed, and then the father could really start working with the child and send him to school and found some job even, and it was much like that. So we don't always need to teach actively, or have someone come in and take sessions or do therapy. When they have you in your life, they're lucky, because you know about the chi field and you know how to work on your own fears, or now you are learning it. And so this can get them as far as to eventually wanting to get into making themselves happier and freer. So essentially, this is what comes down to. After your safety is taken care of, you start looking into your fears. And this is why I put the song Speechless in today, before that you are not speechless. So when you're in a calm and relaxed state and you're in that, and this is what you're generating. Remember the web class when we talked about what is inside is what we are radiating out? So you can use that knowledge. Then you can start figuring out how you say some things to that person who is in a difficult situation because of earlier abuse or traumatic experiences, and now can have all sorts of manifestation. Yeah, it can have turned into someone who is very abrupt and very, very aggressive, or even withdrawn, doesn't want to communicate, or can, because he or she cannot communicate because of the pain, is locking their heart in. Yes, so they can't have open communications. So study the avoiding and hiding pattern. Maybe read it through, 2 or 3 times, and just keep learning about it, facing your own fears, and look at yourself as, are you avoiding to say something on and off in a way that the other person can take it? The way how we say something to someone who needs help but can't get it, or doesn't see that they need it, that's one reason for why they don't get help, or one reason. How we say something has a lot to do. But if you don't know how yet to not be speechless anymore, you certainly don't want to start controlling that person, telling them off, or even, please, never ever threaten the person with negative possible effects, or with punishment, or even maybe pressure them into, you have to change, otherwise I take away my love from you, or I leave you, or so on. That of course just increases the fear and pressure and withdrawal or aggression, because everybody wants love. Working on self is important for another reason. Sorry, I have a lot of information coming my way. If not everything comes linear, please forgive me. Maybe you just have to put the puzzle pieces together at the end yourself. One reason for why it is so important to work on yourself is because when you are doing, well, you're sitting in a Renshu class, so let's assume you are a practitioner of Renshu. So especially when you practice Renshu, you do very deep work on yourself. And that means that your sensitivity will increase. That is beautiful. That is wonderful and important, because sensitivity gives you the possibility to be empathetic and be compassionate and to receive information. And then you can work differently. Because you're sensitive, you are able to receive information from further away, many, many different perspectives than just the one. So sensitivity is a beautiful thing. And we want more of it. We need more of it. Because we need to be more sensitive, more loving, more caring, more supportive, more giving, and less getting stuck in a lack of something. lack of attention, lack of safety that comes from us perceiving that we're not safe when we might be safe, lack of trust, lack of that's a positive lack actually. When greediness is very strong in us, and we humans, we know we're greedy, aren't, don't we? I'm not saying you are, I'm saying we or me. Okay, so if you don't see it in yourself, that's fine. So when our greediness tends to come up, we want and want a lot of things, and often love relationships or partner relationships, when the love is fresh and young and strong, when we come together, then often the partner wants to give everything and everything we want. But over the years, one cannot always give, right? So when we don't work on our greediness and our wants, and our just want the desires from the other, so our desires need to be taken care of by others continuously, that can create a problem then as well. Yes. So this is what we need sensitivity for too. And here, for example, we see also how harmony between the elements is important, why we need to work on self to see all these things. So as we are getting more sensitive, we receive information from people around. And when you can't recognize in the moment when someone else is angry or aggressive, I have to say this happens to me with my dad and my mom a lot still. Not so much with other people anymore, but of course, the very strong connection that I have with my parents, which is mostly beautiful, but we all have patterns, right? And well, when there's a lot of nervousness or fear, and I meet up with my mom, I feel that immediately. And sometimes it takes me a few moments to recognize, oh, wow, that's that was instant. That was instant. Yes. Or when someone is annoyed, and angry, I'm very quick to react with anger back because, well, that's the patterns. Yeah. And often the sensitivity makes us become what is surrounding us. That's one reason. The other reason is our own patterns and our own defensive mechanisms. So for example, when someone gets angry around me or possibly towards me, I immediately feel unsafe, and I start reacting towards that with anger, trying to defend, right? Actually, like I said, this only seems to happen these days with my parents, which rarely enough, thank goodness, we have. I'm really grateful to say that, um, you know, Renshu has helped our family a lot. And also, they have actually been in my classes for over 3 years every week, when I still held the physical class and in German. English wouldn't help them. So, there was a lot of change, but of course, patterns are patterns, and the patterns are very established in people who have lived 40 or 70 years. So be aware of your own sensitivity when you live with someone who is either very much in the victim pattern or very much in the perpetrator abuser pattern. Just keep working on your own state. Keep reminding yourself that you are safe. unless you're not, but we don't need to talk about this anymore. We've done that in the beginning. Keep reminding yourself that you are safe. Keep reminding yourself that this happens because of hurt. When people are hurt, it comes from hurt. And when people are hurting, it also comes from hurt. Right? Stay with that overall, very simple. Here we can see the simplicity of a Zen garden again. When people are hurting, they can have all sorts of patterns and do all sorts of things. But it does come from hurt. And when people are hurting others, that also comes from hurt inside. Maybe not clear from where, but that's where it comes from. So stick with that in your heart. Come back to the purity of your heart and to that knowledge. And then look at your avoiding and hiding. First of all, it's important for you to understand that you do not need to respond to their anger. When someone is angry, upset, or even attacking you, you are allowed to remove yourself from the situation. You are allowed to not respond, or you are allowed to respond with a peaceful manner. This is very powerful. Yes? So, I don't know if you've seen a few sessions back when I shared about my relationship with my beautiful husband. That was very rough for the first 2 years. And I had left, and there was so much love between us, but our patterns were just constantly, it was rough. And then Janse, has talked to Johnny. Oh, well, too late. It slipped out. Well, I love him so much. And Janse has talked to me, and this is what we then did. And the relationship turned beautifully harmonious, beautiful harmonious. We had wonderful years together without violence, without these horrible arguments we had after the first half year of super hearts and love was over, and then the patterns came out. And so it was very difficult, but the Chi field, and exactly that, it's not about me when the other one is attacking me. They are hurting, and their false self right now is telling them all sorts of stories that they are not being loved, that they are not being cherished, that they are not being supported, that they are in danger, that they are under a demand of the relationship because it was perceived that the partner needs something. So me personally, I had to learn to not be scared when aggression showed up in the other person. And I had to work very hard on not to go into my avoiding and going back or into my defensive mechanisms. I had to learn to really remember as quickly as possible that my beloved was hurting, was stressed, was anxious, was nervous, was scared underneath it all. And that's when my heart immediately jump started. It was like jump starting a car. It was like, wow. And I would go very soft and gentle, and I would go, I think we should relax a little bit. Shall we breathe a little bit? And I just would close my eyes and start breathing, and I would, for example, spread out my chi field and I would start breathing. Not always, of course, right? It's patterns. Sometimes I would react still with my fighting back, with my, how dare you behave like this? When the other person was, angry. I'm sure that had something to do with my patterns, not me, but my patterns. Yeah, I'm not saying it's his fault. No, no blaming. It's just the interactions of the patterns are just so complex. But when I perceived the aggressiveness started happening or the super nervousness, and then I started to go, okay, let's breathe, relax your head. And I would started talking loud. Or when it wasn't possible because there was too much rage going on right now, then I would go into my chi field, into myself, and take care of what I needed. And I needed to not be around aggression when I wasn't heard. That So I was speaking up, shall we relax? And sometimes it was a yes. And after relaxation, I was like, okay, I'm happy to listen to you now. But after the relaxation, there was no need anymore to attack for him. And then constructive and open-hearted conversations came out. And if it was a no, which of course everybody is allowed to say no to relaxation or, um, you know, talking in the moment when everything is still up, emotional wise, is probably not a good idea. So first it's like adjust the state, calm down, and or I am happy to listen, or I am here for you. And when the aggressiveness would go on, then you are allowed to remove yourself out of the situation for now and take care of self. Yeah. So it is important here that we don't fall into the polarized thinking pattern. There is no real do this every single time. We have to be flexible. One has to be, and life gives us lots and lots and lots of situations, opportunities to be flexible, because we can practice repetitively. The information or the situation will keep coming back if we haven't found a healthy and total reality solution. But if we found that, the situation will then change. So it's a lot about remembering the reality, remembering how to establish or re-establish the lost healthy state first in oneself, and then remembering to spread that out, and remembering the cause of the either withdrawal or aggressiveness. But for now we're still in aggressiveness. When there's a withdrawal happening, then we also need to look at our avoiding and hiding. Why? Yes, because that renders us often speechless. Noberto said to a good friend once, and I liked that men need to be pushed to do life cultivation very often by their women. So let's just expand that a little bit out into all partnerships, no matter if it's man, woman, woman, or whatever else constellation is there possible with us humans. So whenever we are in a relationship, it also can be friendships, right? I'm not talking about just partnerships as in sexual partnerships or living partners. It can be friendships, it can be work relations, it can be with your kids, it can be all sorts of relationships. I would like to include pets actually as well, because they don't have to deal with our aggressions. They really don't. They have deserved much better. They also don't have to deal with our withdrawal. Okay, if I start talking about pets, I'm going on mushy, and then so let's come back to the humans for now. So withdrawal and being pushed. So let's spread it out to all relationships. When there is a lot of withdrawal happening, we need to take care of our own avoiding and hiding, maybe of scaring back of open, heartfelt, and truthful communications. And also we have to take care a lot of our own polarized thinking, so judgments, etc., fixed expectations, false assumptions, overgeneralizations. You are never listening to me. We could call that an overgeneralization. Yeah, we have to learn to not. How do you say that in English? Expect failure or set ourselves up for failure. Yeah, I've tried that already 5 times and it never worked. What if that person needed 6 times talking to, so that that person is able to wanting to incorporate some change? Changing is scary for all of us, right? That's the stubbornness pattern and the fear of change. Also the fear of the pattern seeking maximum certainty. What we know is where we feel safe, even if it's only a false perception. But we are used to that, and so what we used to doesn't bring up the fear of the unknown in us, and change tends to do that. So there's a lot that needs to be considered when wanting to help someone out of withdrawal, but determination, with a soft determination from the heart, a true intention, and repetitiveness, with being aware of one's own way of being. So nagging is not going to help. Yeah? So speechless is not good, but how we speak is important. The way we say things, and also when we say things. So if your partner has just worked 16 hours and is maybe dirty and filthy, doesn't matter if that was the cars and garden or in the house or at work, is tired and maybe hasn't eaten yet, so remember, it can be female or male. That's not a good time to bring up problems. A moment. This is also so important, why we need to look at ourselves. And our avoiding and hiding pattern is doing another thing to us. We don't say things in the right manner, in what is right: respectful, loving, supportive, honest, truthful, and self-aware, and in self-control. Wise, calm, relaxed, natural, harmonious, unified. These are all the things we can take care of before we say something. And then what we say is the next thing. Yes? So a little bit of humor is important with avoiding and hiding. One more, I come back to that. I haven't finished the sentence, I think. So what avoiding and hiding is doing to us is that We don't say them in that state, that healthy state. We say them only when the pattern is active. So when we are annoyed of something, and then so avoiding and hiding puts us in the situation that we don't say something the first time, the second time, the third time, but the fourth time, when that thing that either the victim or the abused is doing comes up, then we go and go. That's what the avoiding and hiding is doing. It often comes out of nowhere. On the other side, shyness. When someone is timid and shy, that's also a form of avoiding and hiding, or can bring upon a different form of avoiding and hiding. So when we are too shy or scared to say something, so that can happen too, yes? So then we often don't say something 3 or 4 or 5 or 100 times not, but 20 years down the drain, we have to live with that. And now the patterns are so established. So there is a certain dynamic between partners very often. And when you want to change that now, after 20 years or 36 years or 58 years of marriage, you want to change things? Oh, yes, it's possible. It's totally possible. But the avoiding and hiding is very often involved here in not being able to overcome one's own fear of changing something and starting to change something, because often we think we might fail, or we're very quick to say the other one doesn't want to. But very often we lack our self-awareness because avoiding and hiding doesn't allow us to see how we behave or how we don't say things. Yeah. So timidness or shyness or fear of speaking up is also avoiding and hiding, not just the defense mechanisms and reacting with aggressiveness or yelling when we've been avoiding and hiding for quite a while, and then at some stage it breaks out, and that's when often discussions happen. But again, if you do not have arguments and fights because one person is always the, how do you call it, the submissive one or the suppressed one, and the other person is always the controlling one, then the person that is submissive needs to learn to speak up in a way that the person can do that. And that's not easy with a dominant person when someone is in the pattern of fighting for dominance and desire for victory. For this is the only way how that person feels safe. And that's very often that's very often the fact with victim turned abuser or victim turned withdrawer, victim turned judgmental. Those are all calls for safety, calls for security, calls for love, for support. So when we were together, my husband loved sex and I loved sex. Here comes the avoiding and hiding humor thing. Obviously, in a relationship, to some degree, sexual relation is healthy and important. This is why we are in a partnership like that. As long as it's balanced and harmonious, whatever that is for that couple. So Sunday mornings after sex is when I started to speak about problems. In bed, cuddled in together. When we were nice and relaxed, I would say, "Hey, babe, you feel relaxed and happy now?" And he's like, "Oh, okay. No, yes, I'm good. Shall we talk about something?" "Ah, yes." So, you know, um, you can be a little bit sneaky if your sneakiness comes from the heart. Um, it's actually not sneaky, it's wise. Yeah. If you're not having sex anymore because you've been together 160 years and now you're 170 and this is just not a part anymore, then find a time or start making times, like preparing. I would like to talk about something with you. Maybe touch the hand, look into the eyes. Even if that is already difficult, then um, maybe be brave and courageous, overcome your avoiding and hiding, and do something you've never done before or that you haven't done in 20 years, maybe. Go stand in front of the person and look the person into the eyes. Maybe put your hand on your heart and say, I love you so much. I love us together so much. There is something I would love to say to help us with something that I perceive as a problem. Maybe you don't, but I trust that you want us to be happy. Those were a few simple words, maybe what, 25 words, 3 phrases. If that scares you, then maybe listen to the song a few more times. You don't go speechless anymore. You can go to the toilet and build a chi field first there before you do that. You can wait if you go for walks in nature, or you can go, let's go for a walk in nature. And when you are, beauty of nature often can relax someone. Don't invite your kids and ankles, that's German. What's the word for that? Grandchildren. Sorry, ankles is totally German. Your grandchildren. Um, and, you know, set an intention and then gather all the courage you need and do it. You might be positively surprised. If you don't know how to do all of this still after this class, maybe re-listen to the class or do a Ling Yuan. You have learned Ling Yuan now, definitely with me in the class or before with someone else already. Um, and change up the questions. Let your heart ask the question, Dear Shen, can you show me how I can do this? How can I help our relationship? In this way, so that's what someone who withdraws a lot needs a little pushing, but not, remember, not too much pushing, and no, not from the pattern of the urge to control. When you come from the pure intention to harmonize between the elements, you and your partner, you and that person in the relationship, whatever relationship that is, when you come from the pure intention to harmonize the elements, to uplift the relationship, to uplift freedom and peacefulness in the world, because if two persons are less fighting less, then there is more peace in the world. So always see the bigger picture. It is never too late to work on relationships, and keep making attempts. Don't give up if someone is really, really resistant to working that. Then maybe you have to start even more Maybe you have to start saying that, when you are being talked to in an aggressive way, say, stop. Don't talk to me like this. Please don't talk to me like this. Depends on how strong the aggression comes. Yeah. Please, let's try to stay respectful to each other, is another way. Or, I think you are being really stressed. Can I help you with something? I'm happy to listen. I'm happy to help if I can help in any way, because I know you love me. I know that you don't hate me, so your aggression doesn't come from there. So, how can I help you? Hmm? That's avoiding and hiding too. Not, being scared to bother others when you have the feeling that you're not listened to, or that you are not, that you're ignored. Again, we, I'm talking to so many people right now. It can be that you happen to be someone who needs something all day long, every day, from the partner or from that person in the relationship. So then you would have to work on your own greediness and codependency. Um, but if it's really on the other side that you simply never are being considered anymore, or nothing much is happening in the relationship in any way or form, depending on, is it interaction with the children, or is it interaction with the partner, or is it interaction with the boss? Like, also a boss doesn't have the right to, just command you around however, their patterns trump each way. So yeah, um, this is a lot of information by now. So basically, relationships need work. Sometimes they need pushing, but not in the sense of pushing. I just really don't know how else to say it. Sometimes they need, encouragement and invitations and honest intentions, and also what relationships need is honest expression, um, to create the stage, so to speak, where you can really honestly say what you feel, that you aren't heard, you aren't considered at all. But take care of everything inside of yourself first, and remove everything that might be unhealthy from within you. Again, you don't need to wait forever, because then you would have to wait until you're enlightened. So, can you see, polarization can jump in very, very quickly? Hmm. Isn't it a little bit sad that it would be so difficult to show affection and to say, I love you, coming from the heart, not just, said like that? Or, ich hab dich lieb in German. I like you. I like listening to you. Or I would like to have you listening more to me, or asking for things that we need. So let's change that together. If you still don't know how, like I said, you can keep listening, do Yuan. You can get individual help. For example, you can have, do a session and, get individual help so you can go more and more. So maybe, you can even, so I do that often in my individual session. We look at the situation specifically, and then we actually even find out words and phrases together that can work very well. Because often when we are in the patterns ourselves, we can't think of anything that would work, and someone else can help you. Yes, that's another option. There was something else that jumped up inside of my Shen 3 times already. Give me a moment. I kept. Right. Again, this is important. That's why I have to go into that one more time. Avoiding and hiding has one specific area that happens to us, or a manifestation, and it is that we always try to please the others, to do what we think they like or what does not trigger them. We could call it like walking on eggshells. I have one lovely, well, for me, that person is a friend, but that friend did many sessions with me, so that person is also a student of mine, but we called that always what happened between that person and the partner was there was a lot of aggression, and so that person always had to walk on eggshells, and that's what we then called it. It became its own name. You remember? I know you're there today. Love you. So walking on eggshells is, you don't need to do that. Avoiding and hiding replacement information is realize that you are allowed to do what pleases yourself. Yes? So this is in direct opposite to replacement information, to self-centeredness patterns. Do what is good for the others, not yourself, but that's self-centeredness. Today we're looking at avoiding and hiding. And in avoiding and hiding, in the overt form, which often has to do with low self-esteem, or being very timid and shy, and always trying to please the others because we think we don't deserve love. We think we're not lovable. So, those of us who have that overt pattern of avoiding and hiding, you can read up on that. I sent you all the information. You have all the patterns. You can read up on them. And do what pleases you. Take care of yourself. Take time for yourself. Don't worry about all the time what the others might need, or so on. You will see actually that works magical when you start focusing on yourself, when you make yourself happy. When the other person is grumpy and or withdrawn, remember the chi field, the information and the chi, your state radiates out. When you don't respond to anger anymore, when you don't respond to a victim or their aggressiveness resulting from having been a victim, now they're a sort of turned abuser in a way, or perpetrator, and you turn into a victim. Can you see how complex that situation is? Yes. Do what pleases yourself if you've taken care of yourself. This is very strong medicine. Yeah. And hear me. You are allowed to take care of yourself. You are allowed to be in peace. And this is not easy to establish, but this is training number one. When others attack you, you don't have to play with them. You don't have to engage in a war. You are free to be peaceful. You can disengage, you can remove yourself from the situation, and you can set boundaries in a way like not, you know, well, if it's if it's very extreme, then yes, no, no. But if it's softer boundaries, then it's not really boundaries. Then you just need to make clear conversation, and that is actually what most of us really shy back from. Yeah. Important to know is with information or topics where avoiding and hiding pattern is involved in, those patterns don't go away by themselves. Those problems, those things that are avoided, they only tend to get bigger and bigger, and then they might blow up. So be flexible. You know how a tree is upright and strong, but when the wind is coming, it just goes with the wind. Yeah. If the tree would decide to just stay there, it might be felled, yeah, from a strong storm. But if they go and do this, then they can come back to its upright position again. So when someone is really forceful with you, be flexible, but then come back up and don't be speechless. In the right moment, in the right manner. Okay. I think this is it from the information side. So now let's go into just unifying with calm again. Calm is a wonderful, wonderful information to connect with and to unify with. All you need is calmness in those moments, and then you will have ideas. When you are calm, when you are relaxed, when you are unified, when you're in a difficult situation and you are in that state, creativity can come out and your heart can ask questions and your Shen will answer, like in Ling Yuan. We can actually, let's do a little Ling Yuan together, because you can do a Ling Yuan on any situation that you have no answers for, that you don't know how, where you have no solutions for. Yes? And Ling Yuan is a big part of Ming Yuan. Yuan Ming. Ming Yuan is, of course, the 8th method. Yuan Ming, the 9th method. Yuan Ming is the helpful method, and Ming Yuan is the 9th method. Here we go. I managed to sort it out in my head. So Ling Yuan is a big part of Yuan Ming. Ling Yuan is a very powerful healing method. Yes, on the body as well. Yes, on your chi as well, not just on the consciousness. So, how are we going to do Ling Yuan today? I don't know yet. I will read the information that sets the chi field and that how we connect with Ling Yuan. So we will do the 6 verses of Yuan Gong and the Kai Shin verses, the open heart verses to open our heart. So the heart needs to be open so that the heart can ask the right questions. And then the question can go up and Shen can then respond out. In the relaxed, calm, and natural state, we have access to all of the information in the universe. And this way, remember, you can trust the universe. The universe has solutions for you. Actually, many, not just one. So there's no need to be scared or worried about not getting a solution. So what we're going to do, Ling Yuan, on today is the first question is usually, do I recognize this pattern, ... Or do I recognize the pattern of ... So we're gonna flexible, we're gonna change it a bit around. And the first question will be, do you recognize one relationship in which you would like to establish more harmony between the elements, meaning you and the other party involved? And maybe you already have a relationship now in mind, but I will give you a little bit of time when I ask that question out loud. But remember, I'm in the fortunate situation that I am acting as your heart. So the question comes from your heart, your Xin Ling, your heart consciousness. And the question is sent up to Shen. And then just sit and wait. And remember when we learned Ling Yuan 3 or 4 classes back? If the information doesn't come today, right now, right here, maybe it comes tomorrow. Maybe it comes next time you meet that person, if it's not your partner that you see after class again. Yeah. Trust the universe to send you information about what relationship might be a good idea to work on to establish more harmony between the elements in. Okay? And then we'll see what I can come up with what type of questions from the 8 ones. And if the time is too short for you, don't worry. Remember, sorry, one moment. Okay. If the time between the questions is too short for you and you haven't received anything yet, keep relaxing, keep relaxing. Maybe the answer comes in another question, or maybe the answer comes later. Remember, the question is stored in your heart, in your Shen, in the Chi field of Xin Ling and Shen Yi unified, right? And trust the universe. And if you don't know how to trust, then trust in the class and trust in me for now. With information will come, something will change. And if your sensitivity yet is not established enough yet, no problem, really, no problem. Then tomorrow a relationship will come, some person will come in your life, and then you will feel some connection to the Chi field and go, oh, where you usually would have said this, but you will not say this, you will say that because of the session today, because of Ling Yuan today. Okay? So be open and flexible. If you don't have a specific relationship in mind this very moment, just wait for once we have unified with the Chi field and for the first question, and wait a little bit. Someone will pop into your mind, into your heart, into your Shen. And that probably is coming from the universe and your unification with the universe. Okay? If you have any special experiences during Ling Yuan today, and you need more information on it, you are welcome to email me, webclassrensche at gmail.com, Google Mail, gmail.com. And if you receive information, you don't know quite what to do with that either, you can also email me, and maybe we can work on it more in the next web class, or if I find time, I'll email an answer depending on how it works. I'm very busy this week, but don't worry. You don't bother me with your questions. The opposite it is. I'd love to help you, and it would be more bothersome for me if you wouldn't reach out. Okay, so please, for Ling Yuan, I would recommend to you to sit up and lifting up from Bai Hui. I will use one more time today the original or the official verbal guidance to set the chi field, because we have practiced Ling Yuan only once really together in the web class. And so you haven't heard that very often yet. And later on in other classes, we might just, because I do most of it by heart and it might verify a little bit, but for today we do it this way. Are you ready? Okay. One more thing. I love Ling Yuan. I think it's very special and a very special gift. And we all practice together. So I'm happy to lend you and borrow you my love for Ling Yuan. If you don't have it yourself, probably you have it yourself already if you practice it yourself. Look straight forward and draw back your vision. Adjust your body, lifting from Bai Hui. Relax down and lift Hui Yin to lower Dantian. Relax and awareness inside the body, the emptiness and spaciousness within. Expand your awareness out, becoming one with the universe. Draw your awareness back, calm and peaceful. Open to the universe with reverence and utmost Gongqing. Let the bright light of the universe nourish your heart with compassion and love. You feel relaxed, free. You feel calm and joyful. Your chi is flowing smoothly and freely. Keep yourself in a unified state. Your body, chi, Xin, consciousness, and Shen are all unified. Feel your connection with nature, the love and support of the chi field and the universe. Feel the peacefulness and serenity from within. Draw Shen and consciousness back to lower Dantian. Breathe naturally. Do Dantian breathing and feel your awareness and chi opening and closing in lower Dantian. Feel the change inside as you inhale and exhale. Awareness in your lower Dantian. Feel the chi in lower Dantian. Chi is abundant in your lower Dantian. Feel the chi flowing smoothly in your whole body. Let's follow the Kai Shin verse with utmost sincerity in our hearts. Go deep into your heart. Expand to the heaven, to earth, and all humans. They all are teachers with infinite wisdom. I open my Shinmen, the door to the heart, and unify with them to trust and love them unconditionally. With gratitude, in my heart, I receive the bright light of their love and wisdom, and I unify with it. My Shen, Yi, and Xin are fully aligned with the light of Tao. With Gongqing, realization and wisdom are arising. I am one with the light of the wisdom of the universe. Awareness in your heart. Feel the special change there. Now feel the unification and harmony between your Xin and your Shen Yi. Your heart and your consciousness of the true self. Your Xin and Shen Yi are completely immersed in this wonderful communion and are ready for an open and sincere dialogue. Go deep inside yourself and feel the indescribable vitality, creativity, and desire to change yourself and to grow. You are ready. If you now want to help someone, expand your heart out around them. Turn them into a chi person. And make them one with you. The intention is to love and help and support and care for yourself and the other. Your Xin and Shen Yi are now ready to engage in a direct and sincere dialogue about the pattern of harmonizing a relationship. It can be a relationship with another person. It can be a relationship with a group. It can be your relationship with an aspect of yourself, maybe with your body, maybe with your ear, maybe with some chi aspect. Pick any part of the body if you want to do that. You can also pick any pattern, relationship with yourself. Your Xin, the best inquirer, is going to query your Shen. So your heart, the best inquirer, is going to query your true self. And your true self, with its infinite wisdom and potential, is going to respond. Your Shen Yi will be attentive to the inquiries, exercise all the freedom it has, and it will respond. Now feel the special state you have gone into. You are one with the chi field of Ling Yuan and one with the wisdom of the universe. Now your heart is asking, please, dear true self, show me a relationship, either with myself, my life, or with someone else, that I recognize that could be more harmonic, more harmonious. Your heart is asking your true self, please show me on which relationship I should work on right now, right here. What are the unhealthy manifestations within that relationships? Can you please show me? What are the unhealthy manifestations within that relationship? What are the things that I could change in myself that is manifest in order to harmonize the relationship? What has caused these unhealthy manifestations in this relationship? What are the causes? Please show me. Uh, what could be a possible validation for this pattern? Is there anything possible to it? Anything positive to it? Why do I still maintain this old way of thinking or feeling? Please, true self, show me what could be the possible negative effects of that pattern within the relationships. I am open and I'm trusting. So please show me the possible negative effects so I can have more inspiration to change it. I am not running any longer from those possible negative effects. Now your heart is asking your true self, what is my intention in regards of what to do with this pattern? Do I allow myself to change? Am I willing to find solutions and ways to communicate more openly from the heart and overcome my fears? Even if I have tried so often to change it already, I've had other attempts. What is my intention now in regard what to do with that pattern? Your heart is asking now, dear true self, please show me possible replacement options, replacement information. Please show me solutions of when to say and what to say. Now and in the days, weeks, and years to come, so I can keep uplifting this relationship and keep harmonizing it. Please show me the possible replacements. Show them to me now and the rest of my life. Thank you for showing me this and for keep showing me. With Gongqing, I accept and affirm I will continue to incorporate these new replacements. And I affirm with trust, openness, love, gratitude, and Gongqing. I accept and affirm the new information and welcome the new patterns and the new behavior, the new communication in this relationship. Feel one of the Wushin after another, or all of them, and affirm and accept wholeheartedly. Welcome these replacement options and solutions into your life. I affirm through trust. I trust the silence, peace, and calm inside myself that is currently present. And I trust that this silence, peacefulness, and calm is spreading from now on into this relationship. I trust this relationship. I accept and affirm to be open in this relationship, for the relationship and for the change within the relationship towards the bright light. I accept and affirm to love myself and the other in this relationship. I love both of us equally and unconditionally. I love without condition. I accept and affirm the changes and the beauty of this relationship with gratitude. I accept and affirm in awe with Gongqing the power of this relationship, the nourishment I receive from it. I respect myself, the other person or persons, or the other party involved. And I respect the relationship itself. I am in awe that I have or am in this relationship. And pay attention to the changes in your heart and true self, your Xin and Shen Yi. And pay attention to how you feel. Feel the strong qi and the wonderful information around you. Open your arms and slowly draw the qi information back to your qi-filled body. And store the information in your heart and in your Shen Yi. So the positive change will continue, making your life better and brighter. Draw qi back to lower dantian and nourish qi quietly. If you've been sitting cross-legged, gently open your legs, stretch them out. And then all of us together, bring your hands back to your kidneys. Draw Qi from the universe into the kidneys. Rub it in and then tap Qi down your legs. Vibrate Qi down. And up on the inside. Back to Dantian. And then gather Qi in your hands and do the head and face. And gently open your eyes. Have you seen? Today, this was a more flexible way of how to use Ling Yuan. Still pretty much the structure itself. So not completely freestyle Ling Yuan yet, but the questions have changed a little bit. We have gone into a deep state. The Qi field has taken on a very stable and calm quality, a very unified quality. When Shen gets to be that calm, sometimes there is not many thoughts and not much activity. So remember, the information can come later. It can pop out of nowhere. So maybe you go through your life this week and all of a sudden you either meet up with that person or that party or part of yourself, and you will somehow become aware of something. Maybe you can see clearly a cause or a manifestation, or maybe you feel full of courage to say something you have never said before, or you very calmly and quietly, no matter if someone else notices it or not, can change some behavior. I am wishing you much joy in observing your week, observing yourself while you go through the week, and trust the chi field and yourself. And if you have any questions, please donate them to me. Send them out so we can further work on our lives together and make our hearts a simple, harmonized, and pure Zen garden together. Thank you so much for being here. Yuan, Tong, Ling, Ming.